You're there
short
on
and
holiday.
snappy. Yeah, I
You
know.
are supposed to be having a break. Like I'm going to tell
Yeah.
you, there I was. I saw you got on holiday. Yeah, good on her. She's going to go have a break. The next thing, you're up to your neck in it in a pig farm.
Oh my God, it was absolutely insane. I couldn't believe it.
I
There were
just,
so many of those buildings. It was just unbelievable. Absolutely disgusting. Being able to hear them and smell them, it was just on another level. And,
yeah,
like I said in one of the videos, that we were driving for about 50 miles and you could see them. There was probably about one, like maybe three per mile or something like that. It's just absolutely crazy. I've never seen anything like it, honestly. Just mind
just
blowing. So, right, I've got specific questions for you today because I know that
okay.
we said we
Yeah,
always go off on a
and we're not
tangent,
going to
which is,
go. Yeah,
yeah, just for this one, trying to keep it nice and short and snappy.
yeah,
I'm hoping that a few other vegans and activists will maybe be able to come back on because we can both share the link and then they'll be able
yeah.
to come back onto this and watch the replay. So, yeah, let's try and keep it at 30 minutes. So, the top two reasons why you think that people won't or don't want to go vegan and stop exploiting animals. What are the top two
Uh,
reasons?
they don't really understand what it means. Number one.
Okay, yeah, yeah,
Um, so they've already assumed it's a diet.
yeah.
So even if they do know what it means, they still refuse on the food basis
Yeah,
because of the
exactly.
dietary basis.
Yeah.
Um, and that's, yeah, if they just understood that it's just about being consistent and not being in contradiction.
Hmm.
Um, because that was I've been talking with Beth about this as I did that chat with her the other night. That I don't want to go off on a tangent.
No, no, no,
That
it's fine. It's all right.
that was the highlight of what happened to me when I saw the pig being killed. Was that I had criticised other people in the
Mm,
past for doing horrible things to animals,
yeah,
and that was one
exactly.
of the major things that happened to me in that moment. How I
Yeah,
felt, fuck, I'm a hypocrite.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
And that
exactly. Yeah,
is, I think that's the realization that a lot of people would have.
yeah,
And if they
yeah,
had that,
exactly.
then they
Yeah,
would just go, fuck, it's just, it makes it set, it makes sense to be vegan.
yeah,
If
exactly.
you're
Yeah,
against, what I've been showing and posting the last couple of days.
yeah,
Um,
exactly. Yeah, yeah.
so
It's
they
because
make
they,
it about diet, so they
yeah,
refuse. The
hmm,
top two reasons.
yeah,
The other one, that they're just dogged in their beliefs,
hmm,
and refuse taste,
yeah.
convenience. Um,
Habit.
unfortunately, like habit. Yeah,
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 tradition.
yeah. The
Yeah.
four reasons that Gary says in his speech, and that it really is
Hmm.
it. That's what it
Yeah,
comes down to, because it's not health. It's not for the benefit of the environment. It's not for the benefit of the
exactly.
animals.
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
the trolls are still saying that vegans kill more animals than non-vegans. Like it just, so not killing animals actually kills more animals. Sorry, not killing animals kills more animals than actually killing animals. I can understand that. Like that's what they're saying. Not killing
Just
animals
doesn't
kills
even make
more.
sense. Yeah, it just
It
doesn't even
just
make
doesn't,
sense.
like.
Yeah, yeah. So because
So
so the number one, because people, well, the top two, because people think it's a diet and they think that that's what we're trying to like force onto them rather than an
yeah,
ethical principle.
yeah.
And then the second one
They
is
may know
because,
that it's a little. They may say it's about the animals as well, but they
yeah,
are still the
yeah,
people who think, the plant-based dieters that are vegan. They
hmm,
go plant-based for their health and the animals, whereas
yeah,
a vegan
exactly.
like you and I, we go vegan for the animals and a
Yeah,
plant-based diet, the
as a
consequence of that.
consequence. Exactly. Yeah, yeah, 100%. Yeah, I agree. Yeah,
It's where the reason is.
yeah,
Our reason to be vegan is for the animals. Their reason what was for themselves, but the animals benefit. The animals benefit.
yeah,
So, and
100%.
that's where
Exactly.
most people think it is.
Yeah,
They do think they still care about animals, and that's why I'm trying to reach them with the pictures, taken from the coping.
Yeah,
If people are, this is what I said with Beth the other night, just quickly. If you're against, a 4 or 5 month old calf being lassoed around the neck, slung into the air, slammed on the ground by this young man, then why do you think it's okay to slit their throat and wear their skin as a pair of gloves?
exactly. Just doesn't even make sense.
Like that's what we're trying to reach at people. That if you think one is wrong, why is it okay to eat them?
Yeah, exactly.
It's as
Yeah,
simple as that. And
yeah,
that's what I
exactly.
was faced with that day of the pig. And I went, oh, you've either got
It's
to
just
change your morals and be a piece of shit and accept that and go, yay, that's okay.
yeah,
But it's hard. It's hard to.
just about being morally consistent, basically, isn't it?
Yeah, that
Okay,
is
next
it. It's just,
question.
yeah.
I think you've covered that quite well because I obviously agree. I think this is obviously why we get on and chat so much, is because we're definitely on the same page with everything. But so the top two reasons why you think that why vegans aren't active, or when I say active, this to me, being active, it includes any type. I think you feel the same as well. That's like any type of activism, including, and that doesn't have to mean just on the street. That's like, I
Yeah.
see activism as even like holding your friends and family accountable, like not, like
Yeah.
you said, it could be classed as a form of activism, forcing to be around animal exploitation, for example, not sitting down for a meal with family if they're exploiting animals in front of you. That to me is a form that, so it doesn't need to look just a certain way, but I want to know from you why you think the two top reasons are why most vegans are just so like passive and just don't hold anyone accountable.
I think because of their social surroundings. They're so comfortable in their world, unfortunately.
Mm,
Um, they're dating non-vegans, they're sitting down and eating with them. Mainly, I think, because most most vegans that I meet, and I say vegans loosely, don't really understand veganism.
exactly, yeah.
I do outreach every week, and we meet. I would say between four, even between 6 and 10 separate vegans, individuals, but maybe in groups each week.
Hmm.
They congratulate us, thank us. We've now made sure we try and catch them for a conversation, try and get them to do some activism. And in the last probably 6 months ago, I started myself and Carl and a few of us. We sort of lead
Mm.
this, and we will ask them why they became vegan and what they think it means.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
very
that's good.
few of them actually get it right.
No, exactly, I know.
The,
Yeah, it's a
the
disaster.
recent couple, I think I told you on a previous chat, a recent couple, mum and daughter. Thank you very much. Great work, they said. And hey, like, hey, just stop for a minute. How are you? We have a quick chat. So why did you become vegan? And the daughter was for the animals, but no idea really why.
Yeah,
It's to
exactly.
save animals' lives. It's because it's against cruelty. They're against cruelty. And the mum, she goes, yeah, I'm mostly vegan. And I went, what do you mean mostly? And it was her that said we're vegan. I said, what do you mean
Really?
mostly? And she said, oh, look, I have a bit of this and a bit. And I've gone, look, please, this is so important. I
Yeah.
said, please, I can't stop you having those. I said, but please, that's not vegan. I
Yeah,
said, and
exactly.
it's not a diet.
You either are or you're
It's,
not.
yeah. And I actually usually say negative. I say it in a negative way just to jolt them. And I say,
Mm.
I'm not stopping you from having cow cheese and doing that to cows.
Because nobody can
But what
force
I'd like,
you.
but what I no, because I can't force you. But
Yeah.
what I'd like you to do though is stop using the term vegan, because
Hmm.
what it does
Exactly.
is make people think veganism is mostly. It makes people think that myself and my friends have a little bit of cheese or a couple of eggs every now and then, and we don't. I said, please, it's total abstinence. It's, and I looked at the daughter, and the daughter is, oh yeah, like, she's trying to agree and sound like she sort of knew what she was talking about. She didn't, and I informed her about vivisection, and she didn't know. So she was
That's
a
the thing. I think,
plant-based vegan.
yeah, exactly. I think a lot of vegan people calling themselves vegan don't even, and it's not anyone's fault, I don't think,
No,
but it's just like we
no,
need to make more effort to understand what it actually is, because I think there are a lot of people calling themselves vegan who don't even check their toiletries aren't tested on animals,
yeah,
because I've had a lot of people even send me a message on Instagram recently because I was sharing a lot about Botox. And then I started sharing about like cosmetics and toiletries and how we need to check that they're vegan and cruelty free, both. And then I had quite a lot of people saying, I didn't even know about this. Like, I didn't know that you had to check. And I've been buying all of these brands. And it's like, I think once you fully embody and understand the principle and it's deeply ingrained within you, it becomes natural to check everything. Like,
yeah,
even, because we're here in Spain and I just went and bought a pair of shoes from Decathlon trainers, it's like, it's just natural for me to now check the label, you
yeah.
know? And so
It's
it's
pretty
like
easy.
we need to be, because animal exploitation is embedded in every single part of
Yeah,
everyday life. It's like we need to go out of our way
society.
to check things. And maybe not everyone gets that yet, but yeah, exactly. I think a lot of people, because they go from the diet, it's they don't really understand that it's like all aspects of it's all different aspects of exploitation. So going back to the question, you said that two main reasons people aren't active, or even with their friends and families, because of social pressures. And then what was the second reason?
Well,
Because they
well,
don't
they
know
they
they don't know what veganism is.
yes, because
Yeah,
they think it's dietary. They don't
yeah,
want to force their choices on people. So that
yeah.
it's sort of entwined with the first, but that's the reason
First,
why they
yeah,
won't do it. Or
exactly.
they're
Yeah,
too
this,
afraid.
yeah,
They're
yeah.
too afraid.
I think
And
most,
they
yeah, it's definitely, I'd completely agree again. It's like those two are probably about the same in terms of reasons why people aren't. I think it might even
why
be
wouldn't
even more the fact that people don't actually get what it is. It's like animal
they?
liberation rather than a dietary preference. I'm just trying
Yeah,
to think of like all of the vegans that I knew before I actually went vegan and got active. And even just thinking back to them, like, most of them are with non-vegans, and like I've even known somebody who to get with a non-vegan and she was vegan before, and I'm just like, I just don't really understand how that can happen if you're fully against the exploitation of
fully understand
animals.
it.
Yeah. Um,
And I do understand the first couple of years. I mean, I'm talking from my own personal experience. I sort of got quick, but because I was in the Philippines, I couldn't just go and join activism groups or anything. And when it did happen, I went, and this is the result. But it I understand why they cut out the obvious, the meat, dairy, eggs,
yeah.
the leather, and
Yeah.
then they find out about down in their jacket.
Mhm.
Like they haven't even
Pillows.
realised that down is from an animal or a pillow,
Yeah. Yeah.
and it's that learning. It's that learning process, and this is what I tell people in an outreach, that I don't expect them to be. And the same with you, Emma. Like all your knowledge you've gained only in this last year.
Yeah.
When you, because you're already three quarters, 95% wise to the food choices. You found out the rest of those choices. When I speak to someone in the street and they decide to be vegan, and I say to them, I don't expect you to be the vegan that I am tomorrow. Like it's a learning. It's a learning. You're learning all the
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
You might
100%.
find a product, like you were convinced that I made a mistake 7 years ago when I came back from the Philippines. And I will, I'll own up to it. I came back from the Philippines and I researched Aldi laundry soap. Is it vegan? And I'm in Melbourne, and I read the website, and it said yes, all Aldi products. What was it? By default, Aldi washing powders and products were all vegan and
Toiletries as
plant-based.
well. Yeah.
Vegan toiletries. I think it just said the cleaning products.
Yeah.
And about a year later, I can't remember why. I might have seen a post, but about a year later, I'd only bought 2 or 3 tubs of laundry soap. That's all I bought from them. Anyway, I looked a year later, and what I had read originally was all Aldi cleaning products, laundry soaps, etc., are vegan and plant-based. That was in the UK. I'd read the UK website.
Oh, right.
And
Okay. Yeah. So it's different.
I scrolled down and I found the Australian one, and it said they were.
But
And I
again, you
thought,
can't do
fuck.
anything about that. It's not that.
No,
And I
no,
think
fuck. You know, like I thought I'd done my due diligence. You know,
yeah.
I
And I
just
think the
missed
problem with
UK.
this though is that a lot of vegans would turn around and say, "Oh, okay, so that's why somebody would be 95% vegan." Because they think it's a set of practices rather than a mindset.
Yeah.
Like that situation didn't make you not vegan just because
No,
something accidental has
I
happened. If I
fucked
have to
up.
go and sit
You know.
in a taxi with leather seats, that doesn't mean that I'm
Yeah,
95% vegan.
yeah,
You're still
yeah,
vegan because it's still a mindset, but because there's like worldly conditions right now, because we're not living in a non-vegan world yet, that mean that we end up unintentionally, you know, using animals in whatever way, that doesn't mean that we're not doing everything we possibly can because we are against it. Like we have our mindset is against animal oppression. So yeah, it's not a set of practices that we have to like follow a set of rules. It's literally a mindset, and those practices follow. Um, okay, so should we get
and
back to the questions?
and,
Go
and,
on, go on.
and I'll just add to that. Sometimes, not very often, but you do hear the odd vegan say, "You could." The actual vegan will say, "Well, I'm mostly vegan, or 99%, because we can never be perfect." Well, so they haven't actually understood it. No, we can
Exactly.
never be
That's
perfect.
yeah,
But
yeah,
being vegan is striving. What was it? It was a meme. Being
yeah.
vegan, we can never be perfect, but it's
But it's
striving for
striving for
perfection,
perfection. Yes, that's so good. I've
which we
never
can
heard that
never
before.
achieve.
Yes,
So, yeah, the moral of
exactly.
that story with the Aldi
That's
was I immediately stopped buying it and
hmm
found a proper vegan one. You know, like
exactly, yeah.
that's,
Rather than going, oh well, I can't be perfectly vegan, so I might as well go
and I'll
back to
go and have a,
fully exploiting animals.
yeah, yeah, I'll go and have a bacon
What the
sandwich
fuck?
and followed by a cheeseburger, you know, like it that's I'll go outside and this was years ago at an AV outreach. This Italian outreach, Davide. I know I'm going off here, but I'll do it quick. He was in a conversation, a couple of us, this guy, and Davide was a little animated, as Italians are, and this guy had brought up crop deaths, right, in the conversation.
hmm
And Davide, he just started bouncing his foot on the floor. And he's looking at the guy going, what the fuck, you know? Anyway, the guy walked away and we said, what the fuck was that about? And he said, oh yeah, but you know, vegans kill animals in the fields for their vegetables. And he said, yeah, sometimes it happens, he said, but we don't go out there and start stamping on them.
Yeah,
He said, we
exactly.
don't go out there
Intentionally.
killing them on purpose, you fucking idiot. And
Exactly.
that's when he told him to fuck off, you know, like, but
Yeah, the
fuck
crop
it.
deaths is just, I think it's
Yeah, but
illogical and it's
anyway,
just, you know, it's
yeah,
people who are just talking nonsense. It just
yeah.
proves it. It's just
Anyway,
because they can't come up with anything better.
no,
Okay,
no.
so
Anyway, go on. Next one.
what do you think the biggest barrier to animal liberation is right now?
The wrong message and the dietary and you know, it's over baby steps. You know, we shouldn't. I knew you were going to bring that one up, and I sort of got this prepared. That, however I heard someone say it the other day that when they became vegan, they started by just cutting out cheese, cutting out milk, and then cut out pork or pig, and then they cut out cow flesh, and then they finally cut out chicken. And I do understand why people have done that in the past. And if any vegan listening to this, I'm not knocking anybody for however you became vegan. But now that we know just how important it is, the message is out loud and clear that we don't need to just do it gradually. If it was the human context, as you highlight really well, we would just stop immediately.
Exactly.
If we knew all our purchases, look how people are, they'll stop buying a certain brand product because it's, the parent company comes from a certain country in the Middle East somewhere, Oh, I'm not buying their products anymore, and they'll do that, but they won't boycott these industries, or, they have to do that gradually. They have to, and it's because they haven't understood the message. But now the message is loud and clear. There's no reason why any reasonable person shouldn't decide to be vegan. And no, you're not going to be like myself and Emma tomorrow or the next day, but you strive for that. You keep trying to be the best vegan that you can.
Yeah.
And
that's and in terms of the human, just going back to the human context, I know that we use this as an example all the time, but like if we were trying to get a man to stop abusing his wife, we wouldn't say wouldn't advocate or even say that it's acceptable for him to gradually stop raping her and beating her up. We would only ever say, no, you need to do it right now. And if he does continue to slowly do it, then obviously, like, if he eventually stops, then that's great. But giving him the green card and saying, yes, it's fine to gradually do it, is just completely sending out the wrong message. So in terms of like the way that we advocate, we should only ever advocate for total abolishment, because yes, sometimes people will take a little bit longer, whether we tell them that they have to stop tomorrow or not. Like, people are sometimes, unfortunately, going to take it in stages. But if we advocate for baby steps, if we advocate for stages, all that's what we'll get. Sends out the completely wrong message as to what it's actually about. Because then again,
and that's what we'll get.
Yeah,
that's what we get. And the trying, people trying to be vegan. That's I when I hear that, Emma, I ask them, what does that look like?
Yeah, and from the animal's perspective. I ask it from the animal's perspective.
Yeah, describe me how you practice trying, and you don't really know what I mean. And so then I have to paint it out for them, and I say, well, do you still buy animal products? And they say, yeah. What do you buy? A packet of eggs every now and then. Okay. So when you pick up that packet of eggs, is that trying to be vegan?
Exactly. Not trying. It's not good enough from the animal's perspective. It's not.
And they say no. And I say, so why are you trying to be vegan when you're buying a packet of eggs?
Exactly.
Why don't you just not buy them?
It's like a man's, again, from the human context, it's like, can you imagine even like abusing children? Oh, I'm trying to not abuse children, but I'm just kicking them in the corner there. It's like, you're not trying. Ezra just started chewing some kind of wire. Okay, right. So let's go on to the next. let's go to the next question. Okay, so this might kind of fit in with that last one, and I'm sure you knew that I was going to ask this as well. But what do you think of a welfare stance or like a harm reduction stance, which is the same? I guess it goes hand in hand. What would you?
Bollocks.
Yeah,
it's bollocks, and it's always been bollocks. I've got to say it, and I'm going to say it publicly here, that I've been following the Marriott hotel chain protest in America, and there's a lot of violence, a lot of anger, a lot of illegality going on, violence on the activists, and they're asking for cage-free. Marriott Hotel 10 years ago apparently said they will use cage-free chickens. That was 10 years ago. And they never did that. They never did it. So now the activists are going back hard at them, demanding that they fulfill their 10-year ago promise.
Mm.
Well, fuck, it's too late for that. Tell them to stop using fucking chickens. Welfare, bigger cage. Take the cage away.
Exactly.
That's
Yeah.
exactly what they're asking for. And they're doing the most amazing disruption that any
Yeah.
activist group would be proud of. And it's for cage free. It's not for freedom.
It's just horrific because like
And
that
I'm
sends
like,
out
I,
it sends out the
I'm
wrong
trying
message though,
hard. I'm
doesn't it?
trying hard to support it. I'm looking at it, and I don't want to put a downer on their action. And they got all this support on the post. I just abstain. I mean, maybe I should say something. I just look, you know.
Again, it's because I think a lot of people have the wrong idea as to what veganism or animal liberation actually is, because like I know that a lot of there are a lot of great well-known activists doing a really good job, and they are I don't know, drawing a lot of attention to the cause, but when we've got people who are very well known in the movement directly saying that veganism reduces harm reduces harm, death, and suffering towards animals, that is not correct, is it? Like that is not what veganism is. It doesn't reduce harm to animals. Like we're not even like it's not even about harm at the root of it, is it? It's about not using them as slaves, not exploiting them, because otherwise, if we're just talking about harm or reducing harm, that's why it gives people the go ahead to have back garden chickens or to ride on animals. When it's like that is like if we need to get to the root cause of the problem, otherwise it's just going to carry on, isn't it?
I've been trying to articulate this in the context when people use the word reduce in the context of we'll never ever be able to eliminate it, right? Animal exploitation, use, killing. We'll never ever, like we can never eliminate human exploitation and killing.
Slavery, yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Slavery of some human somewhere, right? We'll never eliminate, women's rights being violated and racism. So in the context of elimination versus with reduce, I think the word reduce can be used, but people have transferred it from there to and taken it in the context of, well, as long as I reduce the amount of animals I use.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
To see where and it's just in that elimination context, reduce is fair to use because we will never eliminate it.
Yeah.
Just for the non-vegans here, we will never end it. You'll be able to buy a steak if you want for about $200 in 10 years, 5 years time. But it'll be for the elite few, or it'll just be illegal.
Yeah. But it'll still happen. That's the thing. It'll still happen, just like human exploitation, human murder, human rape. That all still happens, but it's not accepted in society, and that is obviously the direction that we're going in. So again, if we were to advocate for reducing, if we were to advocate for reducing suffering of humans, then the only thing that people would take from that is, okay, so I can just hurt them a bit less, and that's acceptable. But if we advocate for
in that context, no.
Yeah. But if we advocate for no exploitation, no murder, no harm towards humans whatsoever, then we're going to get the best possible outcome, the best possible outcome. But if we advocate for reducing suffering towards humans, then that's all where it's going to be even worse.
Well,
Okay, so
the aim is elimination. You know, it's like each vegan should take on, isn't it? You know, our aim is to be perfect, but we will never achieve it. We cannot. You know, like I've got gravel between my back door and my car. That there'll be an insect that I disturb in the gravel or possibly kill, but that doesn't justify me having a double bacon cheeseburger.
yeah, exactly.
But we strive for it. And it's the
Mhm.
same with the humans, isn't it? We strive for it. We've
Yeah,
striven for
100%.
women's rights, and it's still
Yeah.
not quite there in some areas. So,
Mhm.
you know,
Exactly. Okay, next question. Are you ready?
yeah.
Cool. Okay, so why is it important for vegans to make sure that veganism is not a diet? Why is it important for vegans to make sure people know that veganism isn't a diet?
The vegans know it's not.
No, sorry. Okay, let me ask again. Why is it important for vegans to make sure non-vegans know that veganism is not a diet?
So they know exactly what they're objecting to.
Mhm.
As simple as that. It's like that. My workmate, he sort of took the piss and he said, plants feel pain, and I got angry with him. And a couple of weeks later, I apologized for being angry because I lit up like that because I took it as an insult to the animals. And he was just having a joke about plants feel pain because he thought veganism is a diet and I save animals as a consequence
Mhm.
of that. And I found that out. So once I realized I twigged that's probably the case, I asked him and I said, look, Rick, I said, what do you think veganism is? He said, well, it's a dietary, and all this. I said, well, look, it's not. It's an ethical principle. And I brought up a couple of examples, and he said he disagreed with them. And I said, right. And I said, well, I disagree with them and everything. I said, you're going against your own values. He understood. And then I asked him, now you understand what veganism means. Do you think I'm okay with people around me not being vegan? And do you think I'm okay with you comparing slitting an animal's throat to plants feeling pain? And he said,
Exactly.
no, I guess not. I said, no. I said, I'm sorry I got angry at you, but you didn't really realize what you were making fun of. I said,
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
you compared yourself to a fucking cabbage when you said that plants feel pain. I said, and
Yeah.
it's insult to the animals. I said, but now you know, I'm not okay. I work with 10, 12 people. I said, just as long as you know, I'm not okay with you lot not being vegan. I
Mhm.
said, what you see
That's
is a
yeah.
Terry that I have to put a front up.
Exactly, yeah. That's such a good
So this is a
example.
front.
100%. Yeah. Yeah, so it's basically just so that people know what they're actually arguing against and defending.
Yeah,
I always like
yeah.
to see it as like the analogy that I was trying to give my husband the other day is because I want to try and make a post that says, if there was a plague or a virus going around, we wouldn't just try to cover up the surface level problem. Like we wouldn't try to, give people more medication to end that virus. We would only ever get to the root cause of the problem. And I feel like if we're only ever talking about diet and the symptom, even if it's the main symptom of this virus, then we're never ever going to kill the virus. We're never going to abolish the virus. So we have to get to the root cause of the problem, which is the oppressive mindset towards other animals. And it's just a different form of discrimination, isn't it, against other sentient beings? Because they're as
Yeah.
aware, they're as sentient, they suffer, feel pain, happiness just as much as us. So unless we get to the root cause and not just talk about diet or the animals that we exploit for food, we need to get to the root cause of the problem to end the problem. Otherwise, like you've said to me before, and I think I said it in this video that I did the other day, non-vegans want to make it into a diet so that we never get to the root cause of the problem, so that it carries
Yeah.
on. Would you say that's right?
Yeah, absolutely. That way they never have to give up bacon.
Exactly. Yeah,
You know, it's
100%.
they protect. It's like farmers will never understand the vegan message because
Because
their
they're
income depends on it.
so yeah,
Their
so they'll do
income
everything to
depends.
defend it.
If they admitted, like this post, like I said on Beth's the other night, some of the, I've got to say it myself, a couple of the best things I've ever said, and Asia just said it was, she's never heard it, that if people admitted to vegans that they thought bullfighting was wrong or trophy hunting was wrong, they'd
Mhm.
have to admit that they're inconsistent, which is then a
Exactly.
hypocrite.
Yeah.
So this is why they concentrate on food. Even when I bring up trophy hunting and bullfighting with a troll, they will still try and ignore it and talk, yeah, but what about crop deaths? Okay, but that's, one said yesterday that he hunting's good. I posted a picture of a hunted and killed elephant. He said, oh, it's great sport. They're trying to be consistent in their head. They know what I'm getting at.
Mhm.
They agree
Yeah.
with us, like I showed these pictures. They agree with vegans that this is wrong doing this. Do they agree with vegans that putting a mink in a cage for Louis Vuitton is okay? If you're defending your right to eat bacon, Louis Vuitton have the right to do this. And that's you. If you think cheese is okay for a cow, then it's okay for Louis Vuitton to do this. You've got no right to criticize it. They have the same mindset.
Yeah.
It's
Exactly.
disgusting. This
Yeah.
young man has been indoctrinated all his life. You eat the babies, you eat the flesh. That's veal. But you probably disagree with him being chased across an arena by a thundering horse that he's got no idea he's never met, with this screaming young bloke who lassos him around the neck, yanks him off the ground. They slam them on the ground, lash up their feet, both ends, and that's the competition, and it's timed. It's for profit, money, entertainment. And if you're not vegan, you agree with every part of that. You eat their fucking body. You wear their skin.
Exactly. It's the
That's on
oppressive
you.
mindset that you have towards other animals. So, we
Yes.
said this last time, it's not, you can't just take half of the stance and not the other half of the
No.
stance.
You cannot be against this if you're eating animals.
Yeah, or wearing their skin or drinking their baby's milk or
Yeah.
taking their eggs at all. It doesn't matter how much cruelty is involved. If you're exploiting animals, then you're supporting that stuff as well. Okay, cool. So,
You're in contradiction. It's living in contradiction. Those values that you have, whoever's watching that who's not a troll and you're open, if you think what's in that picture is wrong, then align all your actions with those morals, with those values.
exactly, yeah.
It's wrong what
Um,
you're doing. Yeah.
okay,
Go.
so that the next question kind of flows from that last one. Why is it, the last one was, why is it important for vegans to make sure people know veganism isn't a diet? So the next one
Yeah.
um, is it easy for vegans to accidentally make veganism sound like a diet? And if
It,
so, how do they end up accidentally doing that?
because the non-vegan will basically take it towards food,
Hmm.
and if the vegan is, I guess, unrehearsed, untrained, they're easily swayed. The non-vegan will deflect, they'll dodge, weave, swerve to avoid accountability. If they can't do it on food, they'll do it on nutrition. They instantly become, dietitians and nutritionists and anthropologists, and it's so the vegan. I guess that's where the majority of the animals are killed. It's what the majority are responsible for, and it's what the most of vegans know about. They don't know to talk about the other exploitative industries.
Mm.
And I remember doing it myself, explaining to people, it's about not what we eat, it's, about our clothes, entertainment, and vivisection. We put it in at the end as nearly as an afterthought, rather than, these are the reasons. Be more firm with it. Trying to remember what it's about, but it just to encapsulate it with anti-exploitation, anti-use, and all that encompasses.
Yeah,
It's
100%.
an easier message, in this last 6 to 12 months. I've been using this analogy straight from, do you know what veganism means, to, I guess you'd be against trophy hunting or fighting or fox hunting in the UK, and they go, yeah, sure. And then I get them to try and equate that to the animals they do exploit, use, and kill. So why is that wrong, but this is right? And a lot of them are getting it. They're understanding that. And it's just trying to
Exactly.
get
Yeah,
them
it's a good way.
to align it. I just go straight to it. I don't want to talk about the food. We see comments coming in here. We've not even talked about animals or food. This is early on. And they're talking about crop deaths, and we're meant to eat meat, and we're carnivores and stuff. And we're not even
We've not even
talking
talked
about
about
we've not even talked about cows, pigs, chickens, sheep, or anything.
so
We're
transparent,
talking
isn't
about
it?
your
Yeah.
values. Veganism, I mean, like Emma, I do a lot of thinking about this, the same as you. And veganism is not about what we do, what we wear, what we eat, as I put out a few weeks ago. It's about our values and our relationship to animals. So with someone else, it's about your values. To the trolls here or the non-vegans watching who are open, it's about your values and your relationship to animals. Do you see them as an object? Do you see them? Do you want to see them suffer? Do you want to see them exploited in any way, shape, or form? And if the answer is no, then be vegan. And I touched on this the other day with Beth. Don't be afraid of the word vegan. I think people are more afraid of the word vegan than what veganism means.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
They think you suddenly got to dye your hair pink and put studs through your nose and something, Like I don't know, Emma. We're just ordinary people.
Who are just
Vegans are
against
just
oppression.
ordinary people who go to work. We don't all just wash cars like Emma and deliver local newspapers. We're just ordinary people who saw an injustice, had a bit of a realization, and realized our values didn't align our own actions. And so to the non-vegans who are listening, we were you once, but we weren't sitting in front of YouTube listening to two people explaining why it's wrong and trying to resist it. Why are you resisting being a better person? It's got to be better. It just has to be. Because, not killing animals doesn't kill more animals than actually killing animals. It's who you are. You are that person. You say you're a good person. You think you are. Your values say you are. But your actions are not. The same as mine were not, and the same as Emma, and the same as majority of vegans. We were all the same. you
Mhm.
know, and the moment I found out what it was, I changed. Emma went from mostly vegan, as she's fully admitted, didn't know,
Plant-based,
was
no
blundering
idea.
along as blundering along as a vegan, you know,
Yeah.
and then she worked it out one day, and bang, look at her. She's, you know, the queen of veganism in 2026.
No such thing. Great. Okay, so one last question. I think we've covered a lot, which is good. We've gone over already, so we'll just try and make this quick. So, how do you think other vegans can make sure that people know what veganism actually is? Like, what's the best ways for them to do it? Say, for example, if there's a vegan and they're posting on social media sometimes, or, even if they're not, like, because a lot of what we've said in this conversation today and previously is like a big part of the problem is because people don't know what veganism actually is, and that it's misinformation that it's a diet about harm reduction. So, what
Yeah.
could vegans do to make sure that people know what veganism is and to get the message out there properly? If we've established that that's the biggest barrier at the moment, what can vegans do?
Well, I just think we all need to, and all of us need to learn more and evolve with it. And I mean, the vegans that I've seen arguing with you in your posts about it, you know, particularly a few weeks ago, that was incredible. Christina, the other day, that post I sent you, vegans in there telling her that it is about diet. You know, like, learn from this and stand to be corrected. You know, like, it's okay to be wrong. That's the other thing. It's another good thing to say, I think. It's okay for all of
Mhm.
us to be wrong. We were wrong in not being vegan. And to the non-vegans listening, it's okay. Like, we were the same. It's okay to be wrong, to be told the wrong information. But if the vegans out there to get the right message out, and if you're doing it all on food at the moment, that is the wrong message.
Yeah.
You know, it's good to, if you've got the ability to help people with that, then more kudos to you. You know, more power to you. But please, you know, we don't go vegan because it's healthy. We don't go vegan because the food is delicious. It could be shit as well. You can eat shit. You know, it's
And it's not
potato
about the
chips and Coca
environment.
Cola,
It's not about the
and it's
environment
not
either,
about
is
the
it? That's just
environment.
another benefit. Yeah.
It just so happens that if you eat reasonably healthy, reasonably okay as a vegan, you'll be reasonably healthy. You
Exactly.
know,
And it just so happens
like
that exploiting animals is horrific for the environment, but that's not what
yeah,
veganism is. Like, if there's an
no,
environmentalist who wants to do better for the environment by eating a plant-based diet, then that's not going to stop them from going to zoos or, buying leather or whatever else. Well, I mean, that's still probably worse for the environment, but buying toiletries that are tested on animals. If you're environmentalist, plant-based diet, that's not what veganism is. And it's like, yes, we would prefer that you went actually vegan and stopped exploiting animals, full stop. But at the bare minimum, please just don't call yourself vegan if you're just on a plant-based diet,
yeah,
because that's even more harmful for the
that's
movement
the
because it
worst
gives
message.
people wrong idea. Because if you're then either unintentionally or intentionally putting out misinformation about what veganism is, we're just getting thrown back like years and years and years
Yeah,
and years. By the sounds of it, is what is happening. It's like
I'm
because we're
every
constantly
week,
trying to
every
correct the
week.
misinformation. Yeah, like
Every week, Emma, we meet. Let's say average half a dozen vegans. They don't really know what it means,
mhm,
and barely any of them will do activism. We've had a flurry in the last couple of months of young women meeting us, wanting to do activism. Not one has actually turned up. They say they're going to follow, they're going to do this, and they've been wanting to do something. Not one. A couple recently, they
it's really
absolutely
sad, isn't
promised.
it?
I sat down and spent 20 minutes with her, encouraging her, talking to her about what we do. She's been vegan a couple of years with her boyfriend. She seemed really dedicated, didn't live very far away from the city, easily accessible on for a few hours on Saturday. Absolutely, I've gone, she's going to rock up. I was usually quite cynical. I'm usually quite cynical, and this time I was absolutely certain. She never turned up. They just don't turn
So
up.
hard, isn't it? Yeah,
I'm
exactly.
not asking. Learn how to speak to people, and even if you come for a few weeks, you learn how to speak to people, to take it into real life.
Just be
You
there
know,
first and just witness it all. Yeah,
just
exactly.
be a part of it. Just get out there. If you're, if you're not active, I would have my Vegan Action logo up, but it's packed away in the pickup truck for tomorrow. Is to go in the city. Everything's
Amazing.
already loaded up. So yeah, we're out. We're doing Louis Vuitton and a couple of other luxury brand stores disruption. We're going to get into. We're going to make some noise and do some disruptive tomorrow about 1 o'clock in the city. Then our usual
Amazing.
outreach. Speak to people till 5:30, 6 o'clock, and that's our bit for the week. But and most of you get up and hook up a live feed and do your clips and do videos, but just the right message.
Yeah, the
Just
right
ask
message.
people to be the person that you say you are. This guy we outreached last week, Lauren, one of our outreachers, she comes occasionally, and he was watching the TV. First thing he said was, "This is horrible." He said, Lauren basically started a conversation. I was just there and I heard it all, and I sort of joined in, and we both spoke to him, and it got down to the end where he wouldn't commit to being vegan. This is how reluctant, and he actually said, how horrible it was. He got to do something. It's got to end. He said everything a vegan should say or would say. And when we said, "So what's stopping you from being vegan?" And he said, "Look," he said, "I don't want to commit to being vegan." He said, "Because if I didn't, then I'd be going against my principle." And Lauren, quick as anything, she said, "You're already going against your principle because you just said everything's wrong that you're looking at and you paid for it.
Yeah, exactly.
You're already going against it." And then I chipped in with, "This is your chance to actually correct your principle. Your principle is broken." And the best I could get out of him was, "I'll process it overnight." He said, "I'll watch Gary's speech. I'll watch some of this afternoon." I think he was genuine in all that. And he said, "I've seen you before." He's actually walked past us, Emma. This is the power of being there. He said he's walked past half a dozen times at least and seen us.
No way.
He
Yeah, that's so good.
congratulated us. He congratulated us on our setup, that we are there inviting people just to come for a chat. We're not yelling in their face. I said, "Well, you haven't been to Louis Vuitton at 1 o'clock, but that's another story." But and then this was I love this, Emma. I was firm with him, direct, and it does take all sorts, but he thanked me for being firm and direct.
Exactly. That is the best approach.
He said,
Like,
you've said things to me that have realised how wrong I am, and I've got to correct
exactly.
it.
Because if we don't,
He
then people
felt
don't.
accountable.
Yeah,
Like,
100%.
we're not trying to be
Yeah,
hard on you. We're not trying to be mean. But if you feel uncomfortable, then just be
it's
vegan.
working. But if you feel uncomfortable, it's for a reason. This is what I always think. It's
Yeah.
like, if whatever I'm posting online or say in person makes you feel uncomfortable, it's because it's working. Like, change doesn't come from constant comfort. Like, we
Yeah.
need to go through that
Honestly.
feeling of discomfort to actually change. And this exactly honest and direct approach, rather than the fluffy harm reduction, welfare, like,
Yeah.
oh, just take your time, no worries. Like, how is that helping to get the message across and helping people understand the severity and the urgency of the situation? So exactly like you said, those people who, you know, and I often just feel like if people are open to the message, it doesn't actually matter how it
Yeah.
usually it's said.
Yeah.
Should we start wrapping it up? Because we have gone a lot over what
Yeah.
I planned, but that's great. That's
Yeah.
given me a lot. I'm going to try and get some clips from this to put onto Instagram. Have you got anything that you want to say just to finish off with?
Look, just stop living in contradiction. You know, like you wonder why we're angry. We're just trying to be polite. We're trying to be there with, like information. Find out. If you don't believe us, go and find out whether we're lying or not. Like you're going. If you don't feel right, what was it? Emma just said it. Like if you're uncomfortable, that's the first sign of honesty. It's
Yeah,
the first sign of your conscience telling you that it's not right. And if you think, the picture of the calf being slammed on the ground is wrong, but shoving a pig into a gas chamber is right, examine that.
hmm
Say it to yourself in a mirror that what you saw here is wrong. In their throat is right. Tell that to yourself in the mirror. Testing on monkeys and rabbits and mice and rats and dogs for lipstick when you could buy a vegan version.
exactly. So easy, isn't it?
You know,
So easy. So easy. All you need to do is
it's
just flip your mindset and wake up.
and that little
Basically.
line I come up with Nazia. Being vegan, living vegan is easy. Decide to be vegan, and your actions will follow. You just follow that
Exactly.
mindset of I don't want to use anything from an animal.
hmm
But it's the mindset that's got to change first. You can't keep trying to get to the mindset. The mindset's got to happen in a decision. And then the perfection, you strive for the perfection at the end. After you've made the decision, going back to the trying. If you put your hand on a box of eggs, that's not trying to be vegan. You'll never be vegan if you keep doing that. You'll just keep lying to yourself.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's our actions define us, not our words.
Yeah.
That's
Actions
what the
speak
animals
louder than
want.
words.
Action. They
Mhm.
need action.
I
Thanks,
think
Emma.
I created a meme a few weeks ago that said vegans see you for what you do rather than what you say. And that's
Yeah.
basically it, isn't it? Yeah.
And that goes
All
along
right.
with my being vegan is not what we do, what we wear, or what we eat. It's who we are. Are
Yeah.
we an oppressor
Mentally.
or are
Yeah.
you a liberator? Thanks,
hmm
Emma.
Yeah,
Lovely
that's a good
chat.
one.
Have a great
Thank
time in
you.
Spain.
Thank you. I'll speak to
Um,
you soon. Thanks,
see you
Terry.
online.
Yeah.
Take
All
care.
right. Bye. Thank you.
Ta-ra.